tonight we also want to acknowledge and uplift all of the indigenous communities around the world for fighting for their sovereignty and their rights to their lands. I'm going to take a moment now to introduce and reintroduce World Arts West to you. World Arts West was founded in 1978, direct response to the 1965 Immigration Act, one of the most important federal legislations to diversify the makeup of this country. In the last 4 decades, the World Arts West community has grown from a small grassroots community of artists to providing services to one of the largest world dance networks in the country. Our 4 program pillars are: 1, live performances; 2, artist service programs, including the Career Pathways Roundtable, and a very impactful Grants Accelerator program; 3, archiving and documentation. We're digitizing every single program, every single festival program book as we speak since 1978.
Oh, good.
4, visibility and advocacy. Later this year, we'll be getting a significant grant enabling World Arts West to begin grant making for the very first time since 1978. Few notes about the Career Pathways program. This Career Pathways Roundtable program was created to connect cultural artists and cultural workers to different jobs and careers, supporting the cultural sector. Ultimate goal of this program is for us to create a workforce development program and embed artists and cultural workers in various jobs and careers, supporting the entire cultural arts ecosystem. Tonight, it is my honor to welcome my esteemed colleagues, Farah, Ron, and Vanessa, to speak about their experiences serving on arts commissions. So you can get an insight about what is an arts commission, why is it so important for our community to serve on arts commissions, how do you get appointed as commissioners, and once you get appointed, how do you navigate the complicated landscape of commissions and city-county politics. Again, we're recording the session today. First section, we're going to have speakers in a roundtable. Second section, Q&A. If you have questions along the way, feel free to type in your questions in the chat. All right. Without further ado, we'd like to welcome the speakers to introduce themselves. First, Ms. Farah.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Farah Yasmeen Shaikh, and my pronouns are she, her. I am a working artist. Specifically, my focus is in an art form known as Kathak, which is classical dance of South Asia, originating from North India, and South Asia encompasses India, Pakistan, and many other surrounding countries. I have been a practitioner, lifelong student, instructor, performer, and have been doing this work related to this art forms for about 28 years now. And I am also the founder and director of a cultural arts nonprofit organization focused on the art form of Kathak, and our organization name is Nurani Dance. And as far as my work as an arts commissioner, I just got appointed a little less than a year ago, and I am specifically part of the San Mateo County Arts Commission.
Thank you so much, Farah. And next, we have Mr. Ron, who just joined the World Arts West Board. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Anne, for inviting me to be a part of this great convening this evening. And good evening, everyone. Ron Muriera. My pronouns are he, his, him. I am a multidisciplined performing artist, dancer, musician, actor, comedian of over 20 plus years. I've been blessed on my journey to have opportunities presented to me and took advantage of them. I currently am working for the City of San Jose Office of Economic Development and Cultural Affairs on the cultural affairs side as the Arts Industry Support Director. And I lead a team of about 3 people, and part of our work is to provide funding and technical support to the arts and cultural organizations, creatives, and individual artists who live, work, and produce here in the city of San Jose. I was also very blessed to serve on the San Jose Arts Commission for 8 years, holding the positions of vice chair and actually also overseeing the Public Art Committee for 2 years in a row. So I hope to share my journey, experience, and knowledge with those here this evening in terms of trying to get more BIPOC folks serving on arts commissions in whatever city, county, or area that you happen to be in. So thank you so much for inviting me to be here this evening.
Thank you so much, Ron. And Miss Vanessa.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. My name is Vanessa Huang, pronouns she, her. I am currently I don't really like to use the word consultant so much because they kind of don't have the greatest reputation. So I'll say thought partner. I like to be a thought partner with folks working on cultural policy, in philanthropy, in the public sector, and well, with anybody who wants to talk to me about cultural work and cultural equity and just how we can build better understanding in our communities and of our communities with and for our communities. So I have worked in philanthropy for a long time at community foundations as well as private funders on the West Coast and the East Coast, and also in the public sector at the National Endowment for the Arts in DC, and also in public humanities. And right now I'm the chair of the Cultural Affairs Commission for the City of Oakland.
Wonderful, wonderful. Let's dive into our roundtable discussion. And Farah, Vanessa, Ron, if you can share a little bit with us, what exactly is an arts commission? What does an arts commission do? Anybody like to jump in and start?
I'll start. And I'll speak from my experience, but also from being exposed to other arts commissions at cities and counties, specifically in terms of our San Jose Arts Commission, and this is probably can be said for many other arts commissions. Our Arts Commission is a citizen advisory body, so it's comprised of 11 members, each representing the 10 council districts in the city of San Jose, and the 11th seat is a citywide representative that's appointed by the mayor. And so the Arts Commission serves as this advisory body to the San Jose City Council on everything that's related to arts and culture and creativity. So they are not only the advisory for the City Council when it comes to arts and culture, but they also contribute in terms of making recommendations for everything from grant funding for the arts and cultural ecosystem here in San Jose, public art commissions and projects, as well as policies that impact the city of San Jose in terms of arts, cultural creativity. So in terms of the Arts Commission here in the city of San Jose, it's a pretty, very significant commission just because arts and culture is one of the key economic drivers here in the city of San Jose. And a lot of folks look to the Arts Commission in terms of the advocacy they bring, as well as many of them who have different types of experiences, backgrounds, as well as knowledge that they bring. So I just feel very happy that this particular Arts Commission is now representative of many of the artists, cultural makers, and creatives in San Jose. And former Arts Commissions were not like that. And I think part of this conversation is how can we increase representation from all our communities to be on arts commissions? It is a very structured body, has many commissions that are governed and overseen by governments or city or county. But I think it's very important for community to have a voice at a body such as the Arts Commission. So for us here in the city of San Jose, one of the more notable, significant commissions where the City Council looks to arts commissioners for information, knowledge, and experience in terms of making those important decisions, many of them related to funding when it comes to supporting the arts and cultural and creative ecosystem here in San Jose.
Thank you so much, Ron, and love for Farah and Vanessa to chime in and Vanessa, I'd love to have you kind of go last because I think Vanessa, you also wanted to talk about sort of beyond city and county, other kinds of commissions beyond that, right? So, Farah, I don't know if you have anything to add to what Ron
Sure.
was saying.
Sure. The hope of not being too redundant, as there are definitely some similarities. However, as I mentioned, I am an arts commissioner for San Mateo County. So just by part and parcel of that, you can hear by inserting the word county, it is for multiple cities. And I think the unique thing about the Bay Area is the peninsula in relation to maybe some of the other larger cities, i.e., Oakland, San Francisco, San Jose. We're sort of, a conglomerate of many different cities, and there's quite a bit of diversity within this county, both in, I almost look at it like microclimates of a county even. And so our arts commission is such that we have 2 commissioners ideally per district, and we work similarly as an advisory board to the Board of Supervisors. And so the Board of Supervisors representing different districts across the county. We may have some say in funding initiatives, approvals, things of that sort. I have found, again, I am still relatively new. And what I'm loving is that even though there is definitely an infrastructure and rules and regulations that are being followed, there is also opportunity for evolution. And I think that it's an exciting time for the San Mateo County Arts Commission, as it does feel like we're kind of in a stage, we've just brought on a new director. And so we're really kind of looking at how we can embrace the role as it exists currently and also evolve it, to mirror the times. And so a lot of it is volunteer work, advocacy work. I think for somebody in my position, specifically being a working artist, my intention in joining the Arts Commission was to be a voice for somebody who is living and breathing this role. And how can I both better understand my peers and simultaneously advocate for them within our region, and I think also in the larger Bay Area.
Great, fantastic. Before we have Vanessa chime in, Ron, Farah, how long are the terms for each of the commission that you serve on?
Thank you. For the City of San Jose Arts Commission, the term is 4 years, and you can serve 2 consecutive terms. Total of 8 years is what I did. After your first term, you can be reappointed. So there are commissioners who may not only do all 2 terms, but they may only do 4 years. I just was very fortunate that the council member that I represented, District 7, saw a lot of work that I was doing, not just for District 7, but for the entire city of San Jose, and reappointed me for a second term. So 4 years each, total of 8.
Great. And Farah,
For me, funny enough, I have somebody in this meeting, so I just shot her a message. How long is it? Because I think the unique thing for me is when I got appointed, just being last year, it is mapped to your supervisor, your district, and my supervisor happens to be terming out at the end of this year, so I will have to reapply. And Mara, if you see that message in the chat.
Yes, I do. So it's the terms are also 4 years, and you can have 3 consecutive terms depending on if your supervisor is there that long. No?
Yes. So it sort of mirrors that. Thank you so much, Mara.
Sure.
It mirrors who you're working with and, again, in the district. But there you go on the terms.
Very interesting insight. Vanessa, do you want to chime in a little bit? And if you want to, share, what is an arts commission? What does an arts commission do? Because each commission is really different. And if you want to speak beyond city and county as well, feel free to chime in. Yeah.
I would say if you're interested in serving on your local commission, I would suggest that you do your homework, because there isn't a monolithic answer to what a commission does, how many people are on it, how people get appointed or nominated or approved. Each place can have similarities with another, but also its differences. So I would say, for example, like with Ron in the city of Oakland, we have a commission that is a city volunteer a citizen volunteer advisory commission. We have 11 seats. Even though we have 7 districts, we're not, the commissioners don't have to come from those districts, so we actually try and have geographic diversity as well as so many other kinds of demographic diversities and knowledge and skills within our commission. Commissioners are nominated by the mayor's office, but they're approved by the city council. And depending on the mayor, they could work closely with that commission about recruiting new people, or they might just have their own ideas about who they want serving on the commission. So it can really depend on whose administration is there, and that's true both of the mayor and the city council. But if you look at just the term commission, it can mean really different things. In the city of Oakland, there is the Cultural Affairs Division, which is a part of the Economic and Workforce Development Department, and they are the city agency that actually administrates programs. Whereas the commission is a volunteer advisory body. But in the city of San Francisco, the San Francisco Arts Commission is actually serves both, that name serves both as the city agency that does the funding and runs programs and facilities, etc., as well as there being the citizen body of 15 folks who are overseeing the work of the commission. And what's kind of funny, when I got appointed chair of the Commission for Cultural Affairs in the city of Oakland, I posted this picture that came out on my Facebook, and I used to live in New York, and people in New York are going, wow, that is so great, congratulations. And I realized, oh man, they think this is a paid gig. and because in the city of New York, the commissioner of cultural affairs is the arts czar, who is appointed by the mayor, and it's a paid position, and all of the commissioners or deputy commissioners are actually the paid staff in the city of New York. So it was kind of funny to have to correct people's ideas about what I was doing and how I wasn't getting paid. So I would just say, do your homework. Because every commission is a little bit different. How you get on is different. Usually a city or county, I would say, what you could Google, boards and commissions to get a whole list of how many citizen bodies there are that you could potentially apply to and what the charge of that commission or board is. And then I would go to the website and look at what do they do. Do they have any say over funding? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. And also, if you're interested in policy or advocating for certain things, you can see if the purview of that commission or board is really if that's sort of in their portfolio or not. And it can really help you decide whether or not that's how you want to spend your time. But in terms of terms, ours are 3-year terms. You can do 2 consecutive 3-year terms. Again, like Ron's situation, you would have to be approved again for the second term. If you wanted to serve again, you would have to take a break of at least 3 years and see whether or not you would, there's a desire to have you appointed again. But one of the important things I want to say about thinking about this work is what knowledge do you think about, what knowledge and perspective you bring, but also think about, who are you in contact with? Do you belong to associations where you're hearing many voices, like maybe you belong to the Musicians Union, or maybe you belong to an association of teaching artists, or something like that. And I think it's really helpful if you are in a position where you are volunteering, or maybe if it's even in your paid work, that you're hearing many voices within the sector or that you can help represent a position that isn't just yours personally, but is really kind of public facing or community facing in terms of this. Because when you work in the public sector, it's not you're sitting in a seat that's larger than yourself, and that it's not just about your personal opinions, but about what could be the best for a very diverse community or a part or a neighborhood or something that you live in. So to just think about your public facing and your civic facing work.
Great, thank you so much.
But could I
yes,
add something to what you said? And thank you so much, Vanessa, for bringing that up, because I think a lot of times folks feel that they bring their personal passion to service on a public citizen advisory board, and that's great. But you bring up a very good point in terms of you are representing not just your interest in a specific community, you're representing the interest of the larger public. And so that means, who are you working with? As an example, I'm glad that our current Arts Commission is comprised of not just artists, cultural makers, which it took some time to bring them on, but we now have someone who's a musical event producer, who also works with venues, who has insight in terms of the entertainment industry, because we forget that that is also part of the arts community in terms of musicians, venue operators. And so to have that lens at the table and have that perspective is very important. We also, our chair, who's been on the Arts Commission since for many years, is a journalist, and his beat, and he's also on the board of a nonprofit theater organization. So when you think about your interest in serving on an Arts Commission, think, what can I bring? What experience, what kind of knowledge, what kind of skill sets can I bring to the conversation that will help elevate the communities that I'm in? So thank you so much for bringing that up, Vanessa.
Thank you. I want to pause for a moment, and for the audience, if you have any questions on anything that the speakers are saying, please type them in the chat. But we will have a formal Q&A section at the end. Great reminders to do your homework. Here are pathways to get on the commission. Once you're actually on the commission, can the speakers let us know a little bit about sort of typical year of a commission? What is it that you do? How often do you meet? What is the time commitment? What do you do as a commissioner? Farah, Vanessa, Ron, who would like to jump in first?
I can jump in.
Yeah.
So currently, our commitment for meetings is we meet every other month, and we are constantly evaluating if we need to do more, less. We are even doing a retreat, a half-day retreat coming up. Again, we've had a recent change in leadership, so it's a little bit of an opportunity to revisit an evaluative process of what's been working. Again, a number of new commissioners, such as myself, have come on in the past year as well. And so that's how the body meets. And then in addition to that, and I remember even at the time that I was interviewed prior to my appointment, it was said that the ideal is to try to be able to essentially commit to approximately on average 10 hours per month. And so whether that's volunteering at events, attending meetings, things of that sort. And again, that's going to vary slightly, but that's generally how it's been described. And I think little by little, that seems to be picking up in pace for me in a wonderful way.
Great. Ron, Vanessa, do you want to talk a little bit about the commissions that you're on? What is a typical time commitment? How often do you meet? What do you do? Top priorities this year?
Mm-hmm. So, and it may be similar to the city of Oakland, perhaps even San Mateo County. So, the San Jose Arts Commission is embedded within the City of San Jose Municipal Code. So, matter of fact, there are 14 commissions, of which the Arts Commission is one. There are 5 boards, and there are 4 advisory committees. And so each one is actually follows the same, I guess you could say, protocol and procedures for commissions and boards in the city of San Jose. So with regards to once you get appointed and you begin your commission service, one of the things that they ask of commissioners is that you serve at least on one committee. For the San Jose Arts Commission, there are two committees. There's the executive committee, which is comprised of the commission officers, and that is the chair, vice chair, and then 3 additional commissioners who wish to serve on the executive committee. And then there's the public art committee, and that is chaired by a commissioner with 3 other commissioners who oversee all the public art projects, commissions that get presented to that particular committee. So the commitment is that you serve at least on the executive or the public art committee. And sometimes folks will just like wait, especially if they're brand new. There are also liaisons. We have about 6 liaisons who are the connector to our arts, culture, and creative community. There are so many different collectives and collaborations here in the city of San Jose that we created these Arts Commission liaisons to stay in touch with each one of these particular groups. Perhaps they're musicians, they're dancers, visual artists, individual artists. We meet, or the Arts Commission meets. I'm no longer on the Arts Commission, I'm on the other side. I'm now a city employee, I get paid. They meet 10 months out of the year, and they do not meet on July and December. And they meet every 3rd Monday of the month. The executive committee meets every 1st Monday every other month. And the public art committee meets on the 2nd, if I remember this correctly, the 2nd Tuesday of every month. So as you can see, there's a large amount of time that's being asked for service on the San Jose Arts Commission. In addition to that, the commissioners are encouraged to attend events, throughout the city of San Jose, and just to get to know the pulse of the city. When I was an arts commissioner, I attended almost every one of the events that I could, whether they were the festivals, the exhibits, even to the small, mid-sized cultural organizations that were doing workshops. I would just come and visit because I'd love, in terms of my background earlier too, I was in youth development, so I'd love to see the children and youth engage in arts and cultural programming. And not only that, to have those particular folks get acquainted with me, and I would share with them, I'm your advocate, whether I'm representing District 7 or the city. So, look to me if you have any issues. I'm more than happy to share information. So what I think the Arts Commission here in San Jose also is important is that they have the opportunity to convey information to the larger community. And they can do that by having meetings with community members of arts and cultural organizations, and then working very closely with their council member. So I think that's going to be key in order to be an effective arts commissioner. Just to let you know, my first year, I didn't do anything. I just watched because I wanted to get the lay of the land as a new person on the Arts Commission and kind of see how things worked. And for me, that was a way just to see how everything operated so I could navigate my way as well as learn. They do onboarding. So the arts commissioners are trained. You're given a manual and you're also given kind of an overview of what your role is as part of the commission structure in the city of San Jose, representing the arts and cultural community.
Very good, very good. Vanessa was talking about doing your homework to get appointed into the commission, but really the homework continues, right? After you get appointed, you continue to watch. And Vanessa, I don't know, if you want to add anything, this sort of the complex landscape.
Yeah.
What would you like to add here?
Yeah, so there's some similarities with Ron and Farah, but also some differences. In the city of Oakland, our commission had been on hiatus for about 8 or 9 years. And the reason for that was they couldn't do business anymore because they couldn't get a quorum. Why couldn't they get a quorum? Well, I wasn't there when that was happening, but I'm kind of guessing that if you don't have clear direction and a kind of clear mandate about what you're there for, and people are volunteers, they're going to stop showing up. And you can't do business if you don't have a quorum, if you're actually voting on anything. This was a situation in the city of Oakland, that it wasn't just that the commission was on hiatus. Also, they had an interim manager in cultural affairs for quite a number of years. And then finally, the community rose up and said, we want a permanent manager, we want the commission reinstated, and we want more money because there hasn't been any growth in the funding for many years. And they got their way. How about that? So it does pay to speak up, even though it might take some time. It doesn't happen overnight. Very few things in government happen overnight. But if you're willing to fight, you will often be heard. And so one of the things that happened when a new cultural affairs manager was hired, that's Roberto Bedoya. I actually worked with him on a new cultural plan for the city. And I'm mentioning this because the role of the commission changed kind of radically because of the cultural plan. And the orientation of the cultural plan was, we're not thinking about culture just as artistic production or just about the nonprofit sector of arts and culture. We're thinking about culture kind of, if you will, anthropologically, culture with a big C of we have many communities, right? We have many communities in our city, many languages, many ways of being, many foodways, many ways of how we raise our families, how we treat our elders, how we celebrate things, all of those different things. And we were taking the purview of the Cultural Affairs Commission as being the cultural life, that capital C kind of cultural life of the city of Oakland, and making sure there was cultural equity, that voices could be heard, and that people's cultures could be lifted up, and that also that we had spaces to be able to negotiate the differences in our cultures, because goodness knows we have those. So, but we need more spaces where people can respectfully talk about their differences and be able to negotiate them and understand each other. And so that reorientation made the charge of our Cultural Affairs Commission rather broader than it used to be. It wasn't just about applying for grants for individual artists, or grants for nonprofit cultural organizations, but it was also about, as Ron mentioned, there are a lot of creative entrepreneurs out there who are not in the nonprofit sector. And there's a lot of people who create culture inside of their neighborhoods and in all kinds of places. They're not cultural spaces, but they're the boxing club or the hairdressers or the nail salon, or, and to really recognize that that all of that is part of our culture. The restaurants, our different foodways, our different ways of educating, our after-school programs, all of these different things are imbued, and the way the city government works. All of that is cultural, and all of that needs to be interrogated. We need to question ourselves about, why do we do things the way we do? And so in our commission, we have these ad hoc committees. We meet quarterly, but we have these ad hoc committees that meet in between meetings. We're in a general planning moment in the city of Oakland. A general plan is something that happens only every about 20, 25 years, and it lays a blueprint, long-term blueprint of what the city is doing. And we have a committee that is going into the weeds in the general plan. And we also, a really important thing every year, advocating for our budget. So that's an incredibly important thing that we do every year with the city, with the mayor and the city council, is to advocate for cultural vitality in our city and cultural equity in our city. So that's a huge responsibility that we let every commissioner know, like, that's part of the job.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. There's a great question in the chat that I'm going to bring up in a moment. But before I say that, I just want to encourage everybody who is attending this meeting that what Vanessa mentioned, that the power of the collective advocacy to make change, it's a real thing. So for everybody who's part of this call, part of this meeting today. Want to encourage everybody to get on mailing lists and stay involved, social media, be part of this sort of like there's opportunity to sign petitions and show up at City Hall meetings to advocate for your local, regional, and national funding. Those numbers matter. They really, really, really do. So great. Anita Fong has a great question in the chat. What are the qualifications to become an arts commissioner? Are there certain skill set or quality that makes one a more desired candidate? Speakers, Farah, Ron, Vanessa, does anybody want to jump in and answer that question?
Well, I can speak to it. I think one of the things, I think the importance of having diversity in terms of arts commissioners. Right now I'm reading from the charter from the City of San Jose in terms of the Arts Commission when they ask what their background should be, and it says members shall either be accomplished in one of the more following fields: art history, crafts, drama, landscape architecture, literature, music, painting, photography, sculpture, art criticism. So it's just, a whole plethora of different backgrounds. And that's just in the charter. And this charter is, this is told. So that means that even newer, experiences are welcomed. So I don't think it's like one is better than the other. It's about what can you bring that will make you a valuable contributor to the Arts Commission. If you have a unique perspective or a unique network that you're working with, one of the things I always bring up when I was on the Arts Commission is I said, we don't have anybody here representing circus arts, because I have friends who are in the circus arts. And I said, it'd be great to have that voice here, especially, when you have Cirque du Soleil that comes into town and they're doing their latest show. So that could be, something you bring, to the table. So just kind of do an assessment of what it is that you are passionate about, that you have background knowledge and connections and networks. And that's how you craft then your application, your profile, and say, I would be a great arts commissioner because this is what I bring to the table.
Thank you so much, Ron. Really, really felt helpful. Farah, Vanessa, do you have anything to add as far as qualifications to become arts commissioners, certain skill set quality that would make one a more desired candidate?
Yeah, I agree with what Ron said, and certainly with our commission, we look at a great diversity of features or characteristics of folks, and also about who is already sitting on the commission and what could be complementary to what's there already. Because you may be an incredibly qualified person in terms of maybe your knowledge of a discipline or a sector, that you have a lot of professional expertise, but maybe it might be on the commission already, so you may not be chosen, even though you're super qualified. It's about the jigsaw puzzle of who's already sitting on the commission. So don't feel disappointed, I'm going to say. And we certainly look at discipline expertise. We look at race and ethnicity, about gender identity, disability, and so many different things to make sure we have a variety of lived experiences and expertises, both maybe in the nonprofit sector and also in the for-profit sector, or maybe even on the entertainment side, which is a really important thing in our cities too. We've had films made in Oakland, and so like who understands that kind of work. And sometimes we just need somebody who knows communications well, because we want to be able to communicate better with the community. So just having somebody with that kind of expertise. But the other thing I want to say, and I'm really curious what my colleagues would have to say about this, is there's an electronic platform where you can apply to be on a board or a commission. What happens after you submit and hit the send button? You might hear dead silence for a very long time. In fact, you may never hear anything. At least I know that is the case in my city, because there are a lot of people who apply. And if folks don't know who you are already, that it would be hard for people to, maybe for yours to float to the top of, when there's a vacancy, and reviewing all of these things. And it's a kind of terrible public sector. And maybe it's just the way of the world now, but I think it's awfully rude. But, you can apply for things and never hear anything, not even have your application acknowledged. But I'm going to say, please do not be disheartened. But this work is not for the faint of heart. It's for people who have tenacity. It's important to you. Raise your hand. The squeaky wheel actually does get, people do pay attention to squeakiness. So make yourself known. If you don't already know, have a relationship with your council member or your supervisor or with the mayor or something like that, find other ways. Exactly. Try and try again I would say would be the mantra on that one.
I want to give Farah some space. I was going to say something,
Yes,
to support Vanessa, but I want to make sure that you have the opportunity.
Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I can speak to that, Vanessa, because when I applied to the Arts Commission, this was my first attempt in terms of civic engagement, because I had been in nonprofit for 25 years. And so when I moved to San Jose from San Francisco and started to just kind of connect here, because all my connections were San Francisco, and I lived in Oakland for 18 years, San Jose was completely new for me. And if it wasn't for one particular, I'll call her my comadre, who I reconnected with here, and that's Tamara Alvarado, who is like an arts leader and just amazing woman here in the South Bay. She was the one who convinced me to apply to the Arts Commission. I was actually going to apply to the Human Rights Commission because of my work in social justice in San Francisco. And she said, but you're a performing artist, so why aren't you applying to the Arts Commission? I said, because I didn't know. So she actually helped me navigate through that. So I applied, and actually nobody got back to me. So I actually had to, and over here in the city of San Jose, the way that you apply to commissions is that you visit the website of the city clerk, office of the city clerk. And the city clerk is her office is the one who promotes openings or vacancies on all boards and commissions in the city of San Jose. And then you can see how many vacancies are open across the Planning Commission, Park and Rec, the Senior Citizens Commission, the Youth Commission. And then you can just click and say, I want to apply for this one. And then the general application will come up. And then you fill that application out. But I didn't hear from anyone for 6 months. So I was going like, well, I really want to be on the Arts Commission. So I actually contacted the city clerk and said, hi, I applied 6 months ago. I was just wondering, what is the status of my application? And it took me calling them, because they had also kind of a transition in staffing, for them to say, well, what's your name? Let's go find your application. And then within, a couple of days later, I got an interview, in-person interview for my application. And then it took just at least a week. It had to go into because I was residing at that time in District 7 in San Jose. So I went to the council member. She took a look at it. She saw my application, resume, and said, I think this person would be good. So I was contacted by the city clerk, and then later on the council member's office. And she said, I'd like to appoint you to be the arts commissioner for District 7. And I was so excited. And so she said, but the process is we have to, there are other commissioners from all the different commissions and boards of the city of San Jose. You will be approved by the city council, and we'll let you know what that date is. And then once that's passed, you go to the city clerk, you take your oath of office, you sign the papers, and then you're officially a commissioner, and your first commission will start on this date. And then they pass me over to, so similar to Oakland, the San Jose Arts Commission is administratively supported by the Office of Cultural Affairs, where I now work. So our Office of Cultural Affairs helps staff and support the Arts Commission for their meetings, their retreats, etc. But just to Vanessa's point, you got to keep on. If this is what you want to do, don't sit back and wait for them to contact you. Contact them and say, my application's been sitting there. What's going on?
Wow, Ron, that was really, really enlightening. We would definitely want to hear from Farah next. Briefly, I want to mention a name that Ron mentioned, Tamara Alvarado, who's just amazing human, amazing artist, grant maker, leader in the community. Tamara will be a speaker at our next Career Pathways Roundtable, May 7, 2024, where we will feature 3 amazing artists to talk about their experience in serving on nonprofit boards. Tamara Alvarado, Nadi Tekek, and Laura Elaine Ellis. Great. So I would love to pivot to Farah, and then there's a word I keep hearing from the speaker about tenacity, right? So once you get on the commission, how do you show up as a cultural artist, cultural worker, to have influence over a body that, especially when you're new, is not really clear who creates who actually creates the agenda? How do you influence decisions? And I'm wondering if beginning with Farah, if the speakers would like to address, how do you how you yourself, how do you actually influence things to get things done?
Thank you. I really appreciate that question. And again, it makes me think of something that Ron said earlier. And again, I know I've mentioned this, but I think it is worth reinforcing that I am still, especially in comparison to my colleagues this evening, very new in this role. And I think I am still very much in the phase, and consciously so, of learning and getting acclimated to the environment of being an arts commissioner. But I will also qualify this response by saying that, I've been a working artist in the Bay Area for almost 30 years. However, where I reside is not where the focus of my work was. It was mainly in San Francisco, and often, at least from a production performance perspective, San Jose. So even though I live here in San Mateo County, I didn't really know or understand the ecosystem and the landscape here. And that has been really important for me. And it's been very enlightening. And again, what I hope I'm doing is, by stepping back and listening when it feels like I can now also start to utilize my experience in the various ways through whether, my artistic practice, a lot of work in arts administration, being on boards of a dance service organization that's based in San Francisco, dancers group, taking those learned experiences there and maybe bringing them to the table here, because frankly, I don't think that there's enough collaborative crossover within this, locale of the San Francisco Bay Area. And so that's really where I see I'm hoping to become a bridge, and not just regionally, but I would also say amongst the art forms. I think that we get in silos based on the genre of art that we're most connected to. And again, I'm coming from the perspective as an artist, but I do believe, even now getting to know my colleagues who are fellow commissioners, some of them are much more focused on visual art and doing work as volunteers in museums and institutions of that. Wonderful. It's not my area. And similarly, they don't know much about live performance art, dance, music, etc. And what I happen to do, is a culturally specific tradition. And so it's really sort of traversing all of that, is how I think I'm continuing to navigate.
Thank you so much, Farah. Before we hear from other folks, we're now in the actual formal Q&A section. If folks have questions, please use your raise your hand feature, or if you just want to raise your hand, we could call on you, or if you want to type in your questions in the chat, I'm happy to read the questions. But we'll continue, and then as a moderator, I'll be looking for folks who are raising their hands. And if you have general questions as well as very specific questions, such as, I live in this city, do you have any tips for me to get on this commission? You can ask that question as well. Or if people want to type in their cities in the chat, oh yes, Bill has a specific question or general question, not sure.
Well, you brought it up because that was one of the things. That I live in San Francisco, and I'm like, how do I get involved in commissions in San Francisco, which I imagine is its own separate beast from San Mateo or San Jose and Oakland. And just a little background, like I've applied for a paid position with the Film Commission, which I guess is slightly different, and I didn't hear anything back from them. So and then curiously, like, how did you guys start? Were you volunteering? How? You probably sort of managed that. How did you get involved to know the right people to get on these commissions? I know a couple of you had addressed that, but that's my question.
Speakers, do you want to answer Bill's question? And Carlos, I see you. After we get this question answered, we'll call you, Carlos.
I can speak to Bill's question. I think part also of the process for getting yourself out there is actually, if you are looking to represent a specific district, is to actually get to know who the council member or the supervisor is. When we first moved to San Jose, I had the opportunity, I was working for a nonprofit organization, that's what brought us here to San Jose, to attend an event. And I met the council member at an event for the district I ended up, representing. But that's even before the thought came into my head. And so, I got to know more about her and what she was doing. And so she remembered me. So that when the time came, about maybe like 3 years later, that I decided, I'm going to go and apply for the Arts Commission, she remembered who I was. And when she saw my resume and application, she went, wow, his background can really contribute greatly. So I think part of it is also political in a good way. It's important to get to know who those folks are, who, especially if they're going to appoint you, who are those people that you need to kind of press the flesh with, having been an actor, I know that in order for me to get a gig, I had to go over there to those networking spaces, and I had my little satchel with my black and white headshots. I'm showing my age. My black and white headshots and my cassette tapes with my voiceover work. So that way I was always prepared if I ever ran into a casting director. So just always kind of take advantage of those opportunities where some of those decision makers and folks that you want to kind of have access to become, commissioner, especially in San Francisco. And I know someone on the Film Commission. So I don't know, Bill, maybe let me see if I can get a little nudge there going, hey.
I appreciate that. Well, I will say it is interesting because and I'm sorry if I'm taking too much time, but I talked with a friend who works in film in San Francisco, and he was like, oh yeah, I knew the job you applied for, and they wanted to give it to somebody that had experience working with city government. So it's sort of like, how do you get experience working with city government, and is that a big role? Is that something important as well?
Can I say something
Vanessa?
to that?
Yes.
I think one of the things with a film office, though I don't know San Francisco's per se, but a lot of it is just negotiating the permitting process, which is why you kind of want somebody who knows the ins and outs of working with the first responders, with the fire department, with public works, with the police, et cetera, who all have to, Department of Transportation or whatever, to get those permissions to, close down a street, and having the, the security there and all of that. And that stuff can be really convoluted. So sometimes why they look for people who already have some experience in negotiating the tangle that is often city government or the public sector, generally speaking, is why, you know, even though you might be a super experienced filmmaker and know a lot about what those people would need and what would attract them, you know, you would, again, don't just apply, but, you know, call back and say, hey, tell me what you're looking for. Or they might have the wrong end of the stick too. I mean, they may think that's what they need, but maybe they also really need somebody who understands the needs of the filmmakers and the crews in a way that will help build revenue for the city by getting those yeah, you know, getting them to pay for using the city as a backdrop. So it is that conversation too. Have the conversation. Don't just put in your application and forget about it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, thank you. And actually, Mark makes a really good point in the chat in that these commissions are public bodies. So commission meetings are public. Show up and listen, and you can go to your local government, county government, city government, and California Arts Council, state government. You know, the commission schedules upcoming, all published, and there's meeting agenda and there's a meeting packet, what they're voting on, and then afterwards there's meeting notes you can read. There are sections where I don't know about the you know, individual arts commission, but California Arts Council for sure. There are specific slots for public comments, so you can sign up to make your 2-minute comments. But really the point is, like, this information is completely public. How does this work? Like, show up and watch how they work. And you know, if you're an observant person, you can watch for what's going on, but you can also kind of observe the politics, right? Of how people interact with each other. And all right, so
Carlos had,
yes.
yeah.
Carlos has a question. Yes, Carlos. Carlos, you're muted.
There I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, Carlos, please speak. Yes.
Yeah, hi there. No, I just wanted to mention that many years ago, approximately back in the 1960s, when I came back to San Francisco, I became connected to the Art Commission because they respected my work that I had been doing with the San Francisco Ballet and so on and so forth. And I moved into the Haight-Ashbury, and I became a member of the whole movement here, and we were very much in the respected by the Art Commission as well. There was Martin Snipper and Ray Taliaferro. So our goal was to create performing arts or art centers, which we succeeded in doing. I mean, I was helping them to look at things, to look at different places, and with the way we were able to achieve the art centers in the Mission, you know, in the Western Addition, south of Market, and we were trying to get the Straight Theater to be a performing arts center for the Haight-Ashbury, but ran into terrible problems with the a group calling themselves the White Panthers, and the whole thing the theater burnt down finally. But the focus was to make centers of the art. You know, it seemed to be very much performing arts and involving all of the arts, visual and so on. So these were very fertile and wonderful places to do new ideas and so forth. Today in San Francisco, I noticed there is a place called the Alexandria Theater, which stands on the corner of 18th and Geary. I wish that place would become the performing arts center for that part of the city. It's where the San Francisco Ballet used to be located on 18th Avenue and so forth. Anyway, but so I just wanted to add that idea that we were somehow all wanting those centers for the performing arts to flourish, and some did. Some were successful, and bravi, and keep up the work. I'm sure there are many more questions because of this of present day problems. Who knows? But what we also did then was to create the nucleus or the formation of what later became the San Francisco Ethnic Dance Festival. We did that in the Mission, and that flourished, as we know. And here we are today, as I say, I feel as a result of that expression, and it's wonderful to see that we're still here. Anyway, good luck to everyone.
Thank you.
Good luck to everyone.
Thank you. Of course, Carlos touches on the general topic of importance of advocacy. There's so many community cultural centers that have been built and created and expanded and flourished because of community advocacy. Mission Cultural Center, La Peña, Oakland Asian Cultural Center, Eastside Cultural Center, so many spaces. We are getting down to the last 5 minutes of our time together. I wonder if anybody has any last questions, but I really want to ask all the speakers before we wrap up. Let's say if somebody is interested in serving arts commissions, do you have any sort of top tips that you want to leave? With, like, I suggest these 3 things, and any sort of last minute of wisdom that you want to share. I suggest XYZ. Vanessa?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so many good comments have already been made about this, and certainly ones about public meetings and going to your city council or your supervisor meetings and speaking up during public comment, because there is always public comment, and that's how people get to know you. So if you look at the agenda and you see something that you care about, or maybe they aren't even talking about something that you want to bring up, but you think it's important, and there's an open forum, which is not about addressing things on the agenda, where you just want to say something that you care about your city or your neighborhood. Yeah, so I encourage people to show up and have people know you, and contact your representatives when it feels appropriate to do so, when there are things that you care about. But also know, when you serve on a commission, and this is an issue that we ran into when we first reinstated the commission, there were people who maybe wanted to do the job of the cultural affairs manager, which was, oh, I want to create programs, or I think we should have this line of grant making funding. And you can certainly make suggestions, but is it really your job to make programs for the staffing entity, or unless you're being asked to advise about that sort of thing? I'm just saying that it's great to have suggestions, but it doesn't mean that it's going to happen just because you asked for it. So just to understand that the role is really advisory, and that you try and bring your best knowledge and the knowledge of your community, and that sort of thing, but know that it's not necessarily a job to just make up programs for the city that they probably don't have funding for.
Caveat. A quick comment on the public comment. Sometimes people get intimidated by, oh, you just have 2 minutes. And like, well, how do I make a public comment? Just there's 2 minutes. You can show up and watch how other people make comments. It's very, very enlightening to watch how other individuals make the best of their 2 minutes. and you don't have to change the world with those 2 minutes, but it really is about like showing your face. But it's very, very helpful to see how other people make best of their 2 minutes. Ron, yes, Ron.
Yes, that was a perfect transition to what I have to offer. I have 3 words, each one of them. First is observe, and you brought up Vanessa as well as Farah, that and Mara. I had shared this in the chat. All city and county Arts Commission meetings are public, which means, especially since a large majority of them have to be recorded as part of the archival and the public transparency. So observe by either attending, and some restrictions are being lessened, so you can actually go in person to see an Arts Commission meeting. If not, you can actually check out the recorded versions of Arts Commission meetings in your specific area. I know that City of San Jose, we record our Arts Commission meetings, and they're available on the City of San Jose YouTube. The second is learn. Learn as much as you can about what it takes to be involved on the Arts Commission. And you can do that by, I have a lot of young people who I do informational meetings with. They say, Ron, can you share with me what you did when you were an Arts Commissioner, so I can get a sense of what I'd be walking, which is part of know what you're walking into. So learn, find out. And then finally, engage. Once you're on the commission, engage as much as you can with your fellow commissioners, with the larger community, because that is how you're going to make a difference by being on an Arts Commission. It's not just sitting there and, oh, look, I've got a business card. I'm so famous, because I know some folks who would do that. They do that for the status and not to be there genuinely and authentically, to be the voice for community, for our artists, our cultural bearers and makers, for our creatives. So know that these 3 things are going to be essential: observe, learn, engage.
Much. And as we were wrapping the last couple of minutes, we would definitely want to bring Farah on. I know some of the speakers had kindly offered to share their emails. Andrea, do you want to type those emails in, or speakers, you want to type your emails in if we're the ones who would like to share? Yeah, Farah, any last pearls of wisdom that you want to share with us?
No pressure at all. I would just say, I think I just want to just bounce briefly back to how I even came to know of this opportunity, frankly. And that was because I had engaged with the San Mateo County Office of Arts and Culture, got on their mailing list, and then saw that there was a seat open in my district. So the advice there is to sign up for, newsletters, follow people on social media, things of that sort. What's that, low-hanging fruit to even just get informed of opportunity. And if that opportunity is not one that's actually available to you, say, depending on how it's mapped to your locale, again, say there wasn't a seat in my district, but I started to build some curiosity around the role, then I would just, again, as already said, show up and so on. But I think it's also been very, again, enlightening for me to realize that I could be doing on some level what I'm doing as an arts commissioner without being an arts commissioner. And by that, I mean, there are so many great community grassroots organizations that are organizing and advocating and doing things like that. So how could, if the interest is there to do that, how can I do that, which may inevitably lead me to actually filling a role as a commissioner? So I just think get a little creative about ways that you can engage, even if it's not in a formal role immediately, both to learn a little bit more about your respective ecosystem, but also then when that opportunity comes up, you feel a little bit more informed and prepared to be a part of it.
Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. This is really, really great. And now that some of the speakers have share their contact, feel free to contact them. And then Ron says there's a vacancy on the San Jose Arts Commission for District 1, and link to San Jose Arts Commission's website.
Well, that's District 7.
District 7. Okay, got it. District 7. So about that.
If you're a San Jose resident. which you must be for the San Jose Arts.
Yes, so that's very important. In order for you to serve on the arts, so for example, San Francisco Arts Commission, you must be a resident of the city of San Francisco. Well, folks, we come to the end of our time together. This meeting is being recorded. I myself feel like I need to go and watch this meeting that I was part of because there were so many gems. I know there were folks who signed up and could not be here, and then who want to watch the session. And thank you, speakers, and please, speakers, stick around. We're gonna take a little photo at the end. Everybody else, we want to thank you so much for coming. We hope to see you representing our cultural arts community on a future arts commission, local, regional, national. Someday we'll bring Maria De Leon on this call about how she was vetted by the FBI to serve on essentially the board for the National Endowment for the Arts. That's a different Career Pathways panel. All right, thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you so much for watching. We would love to hear feedback from you in our comments section, and you can always email us. To learn more about World Arts West programs, visit worldartswest.org.